It's a bird. No, it's a plane. No, it's Grocery Woman. And I am here to help you save money. If you remember in one of my previous videos, I talked about Grocerywoman is my alter ego. I love to save money and I love sharing it with other people as well. So if I did have a request from one of my viewers to always wear the Grocerywoman costume. So if you ever come across a video or a thumbnail that has Grocerywoman on it, well, then you'll know that I am going to be talking about how to save money on groceries on that particular day. But I will be talking about other things, how to save money on other things as well. But this is a dead giveaway that if I'm in this outfit, I'll be talking about how to save money on groceries. Okay, this is the third video in a series of videos on how to save money on groceries. And let's just get right into it. I have 4 tips to share with you today. The first one is make sure to stock up. Sales go in cycles of every 4 to 6 weeks. So if you see something on sale, make sure you get enough to get you through for a month or 6 weeks. More if it's a good enough price. And here's an example of how I stocked up. And I did get more because it was a good price. So this is Progresso soup. And normally this tomato soup is $1.98 at Walmart. It used to be $2.19, but it went down to $1.98. And then this one over here is the green split pea, and that is normally $2.39. Well, I happened to be looking through the Kroger flyer as I was making my grocery list and preparing to go shopping, like I talked about in a previous video. And I saw that they had Progresso soup 8 for $10, but you had to buy the 8. Well, that works out to be $1.25 per can. That is the best sale I've ever seen on Progresso soup. My husband and I both love soup. I try not to eat too much because it's got a lot of salt, and I have some health issues so I can't have too much salt. But my husband, he can have salt. So I ended up getting 8 for $10. And then I decided to get another 8 for $10 because you had to buy 8 to get that $10 price. So for $20, I saved an awful lot of money. And I stocked up on soup. If we have one of these cans, or he does, and I usually have a little bit and add some water to it, but if we have it once a week, these 16 cans will last 4 months. So I won't have to buy cereal for another 4 months. So that's the nice thing about being able to stock up, is eventually, if you stock up on things when you see a sale, you will only be buying sale items plus things that have expiration dates on it, like perishables, milk, maybe orange juice and produce, that type of thing. So that's going to cut down on your weekly grocery bill quite a bit. And then a lot of times people say to me, well, I don't have any place to keep all this if I'm going to stock up. But you can be creative. Obviously, if you have a pantry, you can keep it in there. If you have a spare closet, you can keep it in there. You can have someone build shelves for you, or go to a yard sale. If you see some shelves, buy some shelves. You can put them in your garage, your basement. You could store things that way. There's even those under bed plastic containers. Sterilite, I think, makes them. And you could push those under the bed. No one will know they're there if it's in a master bedroom or a guest room. And you could store a lot of stuff in those. You could get, I've gotten 6 under one bed. So there's a lot of space there that you could do. And you can keep cans of soup or coffee or whatever you want in there. Although we do keep extra coffee in our freezer. So that's why it's important to stock up. The next tip is going to be, don't be brand choosy. So for instance, if you normally use Crest toothpaste, but you can get Colgate for half the price or 3/4 of the price, it's worth stocking up to do that, and not being brand choosy gives you a lot of other options. Store brand instead of like a brand name, or if you go to Aldi's has a lot of store brand type, I think it's called Millville, and their stuff is just as good as, well, most of their stuff, I should say, excuse me, is just as good as a brand name, and you're going to get it for less money. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is want versus need. When you go grocery shopping, and we've already talked about how to eat before you go, so you won't just want all the snack food or cupcakes that look really good. But when you look at something, before you put it in your cart, if it's not on your list, you need to look at it. Do I just want this week, or do I or my family need it? If you need it, it's fine. It can go in the cart if you can't find it on sale. But if you just want something and that week you're a little bit tight on money, you don't really need it. So you can just put it back and tell yourself, oh, another week when I have a little bit of extra money in my grocery budget, which you will if you're stocking up, you're going to have some spare money. Then another week, maybe you could get that if you really, really want it. But again, think about want versus need. And is it worth spending that extra money, especially if you're trying to stay on budget? The last thing I'm going to talk about is to be a blessing to others. I think it's really important for us to be good stewards with the money that God has given us. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to teach these classes about how to save money on groceries, because I just think it's more respectful to God to show him that you are grateful for the money that he has given you and to spend it well. And one of the ways you can spend it well is to share a blessing with others. Now, sometimes I'll get stuff for free, or I'll just pay pennies for it. And people in my previous classes have said, well, why do you get that if you don't use it? Because I always know someone else who can. The other day, for instance, I found some canned cat food at a really good price. It was on sale at Dollar General, and it was like 53 cents or something. Well, I picked up a couple of cans because in the community I live in, there's an animal rescue center, and they can always use extra cat food or dog food. So I'm just going to drop it off there at some point. And maybe you know a friend that has a baby and you can get some type of diaper wipes for free or pennies. Get it and give it to them. I mean, why not? Now, on a limited basis, you can also share coupons. When I talked about extreme couponing, they really did a bad number on coupons. They took advantage of the whole system, which is why I believe we don't have as many paper coupons today. But if you read the fine print on paper coupons, it will usually say not valid if traded or bought or sold. But I've called some of the companies and I've asked them, if I have a friend who saves her coupons for me and I save mine for her, or she has a cat and I save them for her, would that be okay? And they said, yeah, that would be fine. It's when they take advantage and everybody, gets 100 coupons for one item and they empty the store out. That's what they wanted to avoid. So by being a blessing to others, it means not only like saving your coupons, but even letting them know when there's a great sale at somewhere, Dollar General or Kroger or something like that. Or I have a friend who, at one point she was a single mom and she had a couple of children and they were on a very limited grocery budget. So when I could, I would put a bag of groceries together and just drop them off at her house. But before I would go shopping that week, I would actually sit in my car and pray that I could find some things for my friend and her kids at a good price. Because I was on a strict budget too, but I had a little bit of extra money sometimes and I would give her something. So I prayed this one day that I was looking for something for snacks for the kids, because most of the time I was getting her actual grocery items or, soap, deodorant, that type of thing. And wouldn't you know, there was a bag of pretzels on sale for 99 cents that week. And I had already bought everything. I had $1 left to spend for her bag. And I got pretzels, and I'm sure that made her kids happy. But going back to stocking up, here's another example. I asked her if she had a preference on deodorants, and she said, yes, she used Secret. And that was before the Secret deodorants ended up at Dollar Tree for $1.25. Secret was more expensive then, but I was able to get it for 99 cents. I had a couple coupons that matched a sale, so I got two and put them in the bag. And she was going through the bag, and she tried to give me one of the deodorants back, and she said, "Oh, I don't need this. I already have one, and here's an extra one." I said, "Oh no, you don't understand. You have to stock up, because then you'll never have to pay full price for this again." So she took it, and she actually, after that, she came to my class up in Connecticut, and hopefully she learned a few tricks to save money then. Well, okay, that pretty much wraps up this session of how to save money on groceries, part 3. And the next video I'm very excited about, and I think you will have fun with it too. At the end of my classes, I always did something called the grocery game, where I had about 10 products, and I would ask people to write down how much they thought I paid for each one and how much I paid for the whole total. And then after they had guessed all that, turned their papers over, I went through each item and told them how much it would have normally been, and then the price I paid and how I did it. And that's what I'll be doing in the next video. I'll be playing the grocery game with you, and it'll be a lot of fun. So I guess I'll see you then. And until then, bye. See you in the next video.